Now, after we are able to talk about why we need to build a website and why we need to use a WordPress, we need something and two things comes in place, which is this we are moving on, the domain and hosting. You as a professional website designer, you need two things to come in place and both of them does not leave each other, which are domain and hosting. We call something domain name, we call something hosting. Put in mind, as a web developer or a website designer, you will need domain, you will need hosting. And in this training, I will explain what domain is and what hosting is. So now, I said domain name, understanding domains. A domain name is the unique web address that visitors use to access your website. Now, let's assume that I have a website and the name of my website is jumia.com.ng. That is what we call the domain name. Now, let's assume that my website is gg.ng. The name gg.ng is what we call domain name. Let's assume that my website is clickbank.com. Clickbank.com is a domain name. That is domain name. I don't want to go I don't want to bore us with a lot of things about this theoretical aspect of it, but that's the reason why I just have to collate everything together in one training here. The domain name is the unique name that is given. Let's assume that your company name or your client name is Peaceabel, Peaceabel Enterprises or Peaceabel Company. So now they want to build a website for their company. You use peaceabel.com, you use the peaceabel.com. So that's all that. Choosing the right domain is crucial and as it represents your brand or identity online. Put in mind, as a website designer or web developer, you need to choose the right domain name for your brand or for your client brand, or because that represents your client's brand or identity online. When selecting a domain name, consider factors such as brand relevance, memorability, and search engine optimization. Three things you need to consider when choosing a domain name for your clients or choosing a domain name for yourself. You want to start practicing yourself, you need to look up to three things. Number one, the brand relevance. Does the name does the name of the domain name relevant to the brand or linked to the brand? What did I mean is this. The brand is Joystick International Company. Joystick International Company. And when you are registering the domain, you didn't use any of their name. You use pabel.com. Now, if people search or people search joystick on Google, they won't find anything related to pabel.com. So that is the brand name, the company name must correlate with the domain. So joystick enterprise international company must be joystick international, or if you don't want to put it at the long, you can just put joystick.com. So anybody that search joystick company, the domain name will comes up. Memorability, it must be the name that people can easily remember. It should not be a long name. Maybe the company gave you Asiwaju International Company Limited. You now collate all the names together, Asiwaju International Company Limited.com. It's up more than 15 names, 15 letters, I mean. So, and this portion, not everybody could remember this name. The search engine optimization, people can easily search it. So choosing a domain name, I said brand relevant. Your domain name should reflect your brand identity and more and must be relevant to your website content or purpose. I've explained that. Memorability, choose a domain name that is easy to remember and type, as this can help visitor recollect or recall your website more easily. People can easily remember jumia.com.ng. People can easily remember gg.ng. So let that name be people let that name be the name, the domain name be what people can easily remember. SEO consideration. Incorporating relevant keyword into your domain name can improve your website visibility in search engine results. I've explained that. I said the name must be something that once they put on search engine, they can easily search, they can easily see. So consider three factors before choosing the domain name: brand relevance, memorability, SEO consideration. So domain name registration. How do you register this domain? I believe that will comes at your mind now that okay, I've tried to write the domain name of the client's company or myself domain name. How did I register this domain name? Am I going to go to CAC or something like that? No, you don't need to go to CAC because CAC does not register domain name. They just register the company names. Once you have chosen a domain name, you will need to register it through a domain registrar. We have a lot of domain registrar all over the world, and I will list the one that I know which are still, for the past decade, they are still active and they function every single day. So the popular domain registrar include GoDaddy, Namecheap and Google Domain. I have other ones which have had up here in Nigeria, they are still working perfectly. During the registration process, you will need to provide your contact information and select registration period, usually 1 year or longer. What do I mean about this? The popular domain name are GoDaddy. You can go to GoDaddy or go to Google, search GoDaddy, you see their website name. Search GoDaddy and visit the website name. You can register your domain with them. Go to Namecheap, you can go there, namecheap.com, you can go there and register your domain. Google Domain, you can register your domain. I have another one here in Nigeria which is truehost.com, truehost.com.ng, truehost.com.ng. Now, before I move further, I want to explain something. The domain name has different extension. I didn't add it to this training, but I just want to add more to it. Domain name has different extension. Different extension. Number one extension of a domain name can be .com, which is commercial. Domain name can be .net, which is network. Domain name can be .org, which is what? Organization. Domain name can be .ng, which is Nigerian. Domain name can be .gov, which is government. So we have different types of extensions. And what does this extension state? Any website that you want to build that is .com, that means a commercial website. That means you are valid to use that .com all over the world. They can visit your website all over the world. .net, they can visit your website all over the world, which is a network. .gov, which is a government website. People can visit that. Edu, education. So these are extension. Now, as this domain has extension, it has what we call sub-extension. Sub, which is SUB, sub-extension, which once you get a commercial website, which is .com, you now want to make the site be under a category which is a sub-extension. Maybe I got a website for a client now and the client says only his website, I want to get a domain for a client. and he says that his website will be for Nigerians alone. That means I will need to get the domain.com sub extension which will be for Nigerians alone. What that mean is you get a domain, let's assume the domain name is pabel.com, then the extension sub extension for Nigeria will now be pabel.com.ng, which is Nigeria, pabel.com.ng. If I'm getting for Ghana, I will say pabel.com.gh. That is sub extension. So if it says the site is international website, so you just leave it as .com. If it said it's relating, that's the reason why if you look at Jumia, we have jumia.com. But once you visit jumia.com, they will direct you to jumia.com.ng because you are visiting the site from Nigeria. If you are visiting the site from Ghana, it will direct you to jumia.com.gh. You can try it. So they have limited the session or the sub extension for a particular place. That is what we call domain extension and sub extension. And funnest thing about this domain, once you are registering, let me add this to it again. Once you are registering domain, please listen very carefully to this session. Once you are registering this domain, ask the client what the company is all about. There was a session whereby someone, I don't know, maybe all these amateured people that have not know about website design, they just jump into it and they don't know more details. There is an institute here in Lagos. It's a chartered institute of something, I won't mention their names. So I collected their company's website and begin to manage. The beginning, I told the company this person that registered the organization registered the domain wrongly. Any institute, any organization must comes with a extension named .org. That is the name of the organization .org. Now this person registered this domain as a commercial domain, registered the institute domain .com. And why? At the long run, once people begin to visit and it comes to some extent, it will affect the website because the website does not correlate with what they are doing. If it's a business website, you can use .com. If it's a organization, church, mosque, association, cooperatives, institute, is .org, which is organization, any organization. If it's a business website, it's .com. If it's a church website, it's .org. If it's a mosque website, it's .org. If it's an association website, it's .org. If it's a cooperative website, it's .org. If it's an educational website, it's .edu. Edu simply means education. So that's the reason why you need to know the sub-extension very well and their meaning. So that's the reason why you need to inculcate this, add this to as a bonus to this training. Now, the last thing I said here, you need to provide your contact information and select a registration period, usually 1 year or longer. The domain name, when you are registering a domain name, is 1 year, at least 1 year. You can register 5 years, you can register 6 years, but the minimum is 1 year when you're registering a domain name. Once you register it January 1st, 2024, it will expire December 31st, 2024, which is 1 year. So that is 1 year. So now let's move forward. Now, we have gotten to, I've explained about domain and every other thing. I'll quickly explain about web hosting. Getting started with domain and hosting. Web hosting is a service that allows your website to be accessible on the internet. When someone enter your domain name into their web browser, the browser send a request to the server where the website files are stored, and the server respond by displaying their website. What did I mean? Web hosting is like a safe where all the files of the website are kept. The files, every files. You can look at the image. I was pointing to where all the files are saved of a website are saved. It's just like our memory card. All the music, the videos. If you remove the memory card from your phone, you can't visit the videos. If you even put the memory card on the floor, put it on your mouth, you can't access the video until you return it back to the phone. So where all the files of a website are saved is what we call web hosting. Web hosting providers offer various type of hosting plans, including shared hosting, VPS hosting, and dedicated hosting. These three are the plans the web companies provides. It depends on the one you want. Shared hosting, VPS hosting, and dedicated hosting. So I will quickly touch it one after the other. Now, before I move to the type of web hosting, I want to add this. If you are getting domain, put in mind you'll be getting hosting. If you are getting hosting, put in mind you will need domain, domain name. Both of them works together. If you say you need only domain name cannot work without not having where the files of that domain name will be safe. If you say you are getting web hosting will just stand without not you having a domain name. So both of them works together. Now the types of web hosting. We have shared hosting. In shared hosting, multi websites are hosted on the same server, sharing its resources, e.g. CPU, RAM, storage. Shared hosting is typically the most affordable option and suitable for small to medium sized websites with moderate traffic. These shared hosting are majorly the hosting people use nowadays. Is like a hosting, a bulk hosting bought for different people, and they give portion to each individual that bought the hosting. Let's assume we have 100 gig of hosting, and they begin to share it 10 for each individuals. And it's majorly this hosting is majorly affordable and suitable for small or medium size websites, in the sense that all this share hosting can be used for any website that visitor visit within 30 to 3,000 people at the same time. You can use share hosting. That is at the same time. I don't say one after the other. At the same time, 30 to 3,000 people can visit at the same time. If it's above 3,000 people, the websites begin to slow down. So let's move to the next one. The VS hosting, the VS hosting as the VPS, sorry, the VPS hosting, virtual private server hosting, excuse me, provides dedicated resources to each website hosted on a virtual server, offering better performance and scalability compared to shared hosting. Yes, if you don't want to share hosting with any other person, you will need to get VPS hosting, which is your own private server. Instead of you sharing the 100 gig, they share the 100 gig with other people, and with you, you can just get the 100 gig for yourself alone. If your visitor is more than 3,000 at a time, you can get VPN, which is 3,000 to 10,000. You can get VPS hosting. Dedicated hosting. With dedicated hosting, you have entire server dedicated to hosting your website, providing maximum performance, security, customization option. Dedicated hosting is ideal for large websites with high traffic. Can you see? High traffic volume. Now, this dedicated hosting is for A huge organization example is jumia.com.ng, MTN. These are dedicated hosting. It's dedicated for them. They can have almost 100 terabytes of hosting of space for themselves alone. If you know MTN has more than billions, no, let me say millions, millions, let me put millions, don't let me go to billion, millions of users that visit their website at a time. So if they are using shared hosting, the website won't go. If they are using VPN hosting, it might be hanging. They use dedicated hosting. Now, the last thing is selecting hosting provider. When choosing a hosting provider, consider factors such as one, reliability, performance, security, customer service and pricing. Research different hosting provider and compare their features and plan to find the best fit for your website design, website needs. Now, before you choose a hosting provider, you need to consider 4 to 5 things. 4 to 5 things. Number one, reliability. Is the hosting company reliable? At the end, once you have viewed the customer's website, will they not close down or close the website at the end? When you have spent the money, you have done the job, you need to relax to do big boy, and the end the hosting company now close down the website. Are they reliable? You check if they are reliable. The performance for the past few years back, are they doing good? Are they doing good? Giving good services to their customer or clients? Security, is the getting the hosting for them, does it comes with security, 100% security will? Customer support, do they give customer support rightly? And the pricing, you compare the price, you look at the one you want. We have a lot of them, but in this training I won't touch a lot of them. I'll just touch the two I still work with, which is number one, which is namecheap.com, and the second one is here in Nigeria is truehosts.com.ng. I'm not promoting them. I use them. That's the reason why I'm telling you. I'm not promoting them. You can find different hosting companies and use them.